My type is beautiful, powerful, and tragic. Coincidentally, in this novel, the villain Sam Alonso is written exactly like that, beautiful, powerful, and tragic. The day I woke up in this world, my Omega younger brother was crying his eyes out, begging not to marry Sam Alonso. He said Sam was dark, cold, and cruel. But that wasn't the truth. His brooding silence was just a shield forged by a lifetime of lovelessness. His ruthless methods? Merely a survival instinct, surrounded by people who never meant him well. So tell me, what had Sam Alonso done wrong? What a perfect tragic character. Without a second thought, I raised my hand. If my brother refuses to marry him, then I will. Welcome to History Channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures. Story begins. The moment the words left my mouth, 3 pairs of eyes snapped toward me. Ken Dalton? I almost forgot. We had another son. Well, yeah, that's what it's like being a barely there beta. You think Sam Alonso would agree to that? Someone asked. I shrugged. He just needs someone from the Dalton family to marry him, right? Doesn't matter who. My brother doesn't want to marry him, so I will. Let's just say, I'm repaying the Dalton family for raising me. Yeah, like how I was. What raising? What kindness? The Dalton family never treated me like an actual human being. My whole life, I was nothing but a foil to Asher Dalton, my Omega younger brother. Asher Dalton was the golden child. An Omega born perfect, lively, pretty, doted on by all. And me? Ken Dalton? Gloomy. Plain. Invisible. So no, this wasn't some noble act of sacrifice. I just really liked Sam Alonso. The moment I awakened in this world, all the plot lines of the novel flashed before my eyes. Sam Alonso. The ultimate beautiful, strong, and tragic archetype. Neglected by his father, abandoned by his mother. A bastard child tormented from youth. His legs ruined in one of those bullying incidents, leaving him in constant pain whenever the weather turned cold. Most days, he had no choice but to sit in a wheelchair. And yet, he clawed his way through life. Took back power. Crushed those who humiliated him. Wrested control of the entire company with his own hands. The book described him as a face of mercy, a heart of poison. To the world, he was someone to avoid. To me, he was everything I'd ever dreamed of. And let's not pretend my life in the Dalton household was anything close to livable. Hypocritical, double-standard parents. A pampered brat of a brother. Marrying Sam Alonso wasn't a tragedy, it was salvation. The thought of spending my days counting money and tracing the muscles on a beautiful man's abs? Yes, please. So, the very next day after our engagement was confirmed, I packed my bags. That morning as I left, my mom and dad actually looked relieved. For the first time, there was even a flicker of approval in their eyes. My dad clapped me on the shoulder. Good. At least you've finally done something useful for the family. Asher scoffed. Marrying into money? What a lucky bastard you are. I paused. Bye, losers. In the original plot, Asher Dalton cried and resisted but was eventually forced to marry Sam Alonso. After the marriage, their relationship was so cold they might as well have been strangers. Asher even secretly sabotaged him later on, leaking critical files from Sam's study to help the novel's protagonists. He was, in the end, one of the biggest reasons Sam Alonso went bankrupt. The book described their first meeting like this. The door opened. The man seated in the wheelchair was stunning. His gaze, piercing and cold, swept over him like he wasn't a person, just a thing. I took a deep breath, suppressing the giddy grin tugging at my lips. Cold beauty, here I come. The Alonso estate was tucked away in a remote part of the city. Quiet, just like Sam himself. When I arrived, it was the butler who opened the door. Where's Sam Alonso? I asked right away. Master's out. He won't be back until evening. I glanced around. First thought, big, empty. This place was depressing as hell. Look at those lights, dim like they forgot to pay the bill. Such a massive living room, not a single fish tank, not even a plant. I clicked my tongue in disapproval. Well, that's fine. Now that I'm moving in, I'll change all that. I spent the entire afternoon unpacking, then ordered a cartload of new furniture online. I was lounging on the couch, mentally remodeling the entire house, when the front door opened. I looked up. A breathtaking man in a wheelchair was being pushed inside. Sam Alonso was back. I sprang to my feet. God, he was even better looking in person. Even sitting against the light, his features were too striking to miss. And just like the book said, the way he looked at me was chilling, as if I were something broken and disposable. Didn't bother me one bit. Noticing how lightly he was dressed, I picked up a blanket, walked over with a cheerful grin, and draped it over his legs. "Hey hubby. Welcome home." He paused, visibly startled. "Who?" His voice was deep, slightly hoarse, sent a tingle right down my spine. "Ken Dalton?" "Yup, that's me. Your fiancé." Sam's brow twitched, barely noticeable, but it was there. "You're early." In the original timeline, Asher Dalton didn't show up until the night before the engagement. But I'm not Asher. Got here early to spend more time with you. Build some chemistry. "Not necessary," he replied coldly. "This is a business arrangement. There will be no chemistry." Sam flung the blanket off and wheeled himself toward the bathroom. "You saw it for yourself, my legs aren't in great shape." The moment I finished speaking, 3 pairs of eyes snapped toward me. "Ken Dalton? I almost forgot we even had another son in this house." "Right. That's what it's like being a barely there beta, basically invisible. You think Sam Alonso would agree to marry you?" I shrugged. "He just needs someone from the Dalton family to marry. I doubt he cares who. If Asher doesn't want to go, then I'll do it. Let's just say, it's my way of repaying the Dalton family for raising me all these years." "You're right." "Repaying? What a joke. The Dalton family never saw me as a person, let alone raised me with any real care. All my life, I've been nothing more than a foil to my younger brother, Asher Dalton. Asher, the perfect omega, cheerful, beautiful, doted on by everyone. Ken Dalton, moody, unremarkable, and thoroughly ignored. Marrying Sam Alonso wasn't some noble act of self-sacrifice. It was because, God, I love Sam Alonso. The moment I woke up in this world, the entire storyline of the novel ran through my head. Sam Alonso, classic, beautiful, strong, and tragic. The illegitimate son no one wanted. Beaten down from childhood. Bullied so badly he lost full use of his legs. When it gets cold, the pain becomes unbearable. He spends most of his life in a wheelchair. But even so, he rose from the ashes. He dealt with every person who tormented him, took control of the company, and built his empire from the ground up. The book described him as a face like a bodhisattva, with the heart of a viper. Everyone around him treated him like a ticking time bomb. But to me, he's exactly my type. Besides, living in the Dalton household was hell. Hypocritical, double-standard parents. A spoiled brat of a brother. Marrying Sam Alonso? That's a lifeline. Just imagining a future where I count stacks of cash while feeling up my husband's abs makes me want to laugh out loud. So, the day after the engagement was finalized, I packed my bags and got ready to leave. The morning I left, my mom and dad both let out a sigh of relief. For once, I even saw something close to admiration in their eyes. Dad clapped me on the shoulder. "Good. At least you're finally doing something useful for this family." Asher scoffed. "Marrying into money, what a lucky bastard." I just blinked at them. By now. In the original storyline, Asher Dalton cried and kicked and screamed but still got forced into marrying Sam Alonso. And their marriage? It was cold as ice. Barely even civil. Eventually, Asher even betrayed him, stealing confidential files from Sam's study and leaking them to the protagonist. He was a major reason Sam went bankrupt. The novel described their first meeting like this. The door opened. A breathtaking man sat in a wheelchair, his striking eyes sweeping coldly across the room, as if he were staring at a corpse. I took a deep breath, doing everything I could to hide the thrill bubbling up inside me. Cold-hearted beauty, here I come. The Alonso estate was located way out in the suburbs, quiet and secluded, just like Sam himself. When I arrived, the butler was the one to open the door. Where's Sam Alonso? I asked right away. Young master is out. He'll be back around dusk. I looked around the house. First impression? Big, empty. Jesus. Living here long enough would give anyone depression. The lights were so dim it looked like someone forgot to pay the electric bill. The living room was massive, but not a single fish, not even a houseplant in sight. I clicked my tongue in disapproval. No problem. Now that I've moved in, I'm going to fix all of this. I spent the whole afternoon unpacking and ordered a ton of new furniture. I was lounging on the couch, sketching out how to redecorate the place, when I heard the front door open. I looked up, and there he was. Sam Alonso, wheeled in, seated with the kind of posture that didn't allow for weakness. He was beautiful. Even in backlight, his features were sharp, precise, unforgettable. But the way he looked at me, just like the book said, cold. Like he wasn't seeing a person, just a disposable object. Didn't bother me one bit. Noticing he was dressed a little too lightly, I grabbed a blanket, walked over with a smile, and gently laid it across his legs. Hi hubby. You're home. Sam froze for a second. His voice was low, rough-edged with just the right amount of rasp, enough to make my spine tingle. You're Ken Dalton? Yup, that's me. Your lovely fiancé. His brow twitched, barely noticeable, but I caught it. You're early. According to the original plot, Asher Dalton didn't show up until the night before the engagement dinner. But I wasn't Asher. I figured we should spend some time together, build a little chemistry. That won't be necessary, he said, his voice icy. This is a business marriage. There won't be any feelings between us. He peeled the blanket off, turned his wheelchair, and headed toward the bathroom. As you can see, he said without looking back, my legs don't work so well. Mr. Dalton, please help yourself. I froze for 2 seconds. Then instantly plastered myself to his side like a piece of clingy duct tape. You've got mobility issues, right? I can help you take a bath. Sam Alonso's brows furrowed hard. A flicker of resistance flashed in his stunning eyes. I don't need help. Stay away from me. I ignored him. Don't be shy. We're getting married soon. You'll be my husband, I'll be your wife. Helping you bathe is totally normal, isn't it? If you want, I could scrub your back too. I'm strong, you know. Let me serve you. With some minor wrestling and persistent pushing, I successfully wheeled Sam Alonso into the bathroom. His hand clamped around my wrist, tight and firm. I don't need help. You do need help, I countered, nodding sincerely. You've never been married before, that's why you don't get it yet. I'll make sure you feel the warmth of marriage. I'll help you undress, come on now, don't be shy. Without waiting for a reply, I reached out and started tugging at his clothes. Ken Dalton. Ryep. The sharp sound of fabric tearing cut through the air. Both of us froze. I hadn't even pulled that hard, but the fine silk organdy shirt he was wearing split clean down the middle. I stared dumbfounded at my own hands. But I really am strong. Sorry. I didn't think your shirt was so fragile. I'll pay you back. Actually, how about I help you bathe now? I swallowed. My eyes wandered slowly across the elegant lines of his abs. Sam Alonso. He clearly hadn't yet adjusted to the hurricane-level enthusiasm that was me. He crossed his arms awkwardly over his chest in defense, eyes lowering slightly as he said coolly, I don't like having anyone around when I bathe. And maybe sensing I might do something else outrageous, he glanced at me again. The frost in his tone softened, just a touch. I just need some time to get used to all this. Could you wait outside? I thought about it. All right. Feelings do take time. Got it. I chirped. I waited in the bedroom while Sam took his bath. 20 minutes later, I was treated to yet another breathtaking scene. A fresh out of the shower beauty stepped into view and hit me like a ton of bricks. I swallowed hard. Somewhere deep in my belly, a dangerous heat flared. When Sam saw me sitting on his bed, his brows knitted again. Why are you still here? What do you mean? I'm your wife. Where else would I be? I don't like sharing a room with anyone. I waved it off. No worries. You'll get used to it. Then I snatched the towel from his hands and vigorously rubbed it into his hair. Dry your hair quickly after a shower or you'll catch a cold. He smelled amazing. Even his scent as an alpha carried a lush, floral sweetness, rich and elegant. I took a long, indulgent breath and leaned closer to the side of his neck. His hand shot out and gripped my wrist. Ken Dalton, I don't. You smell incredible. You're making me want to take a bite. Sam Alonso. He looked genuinely alarmed. 2 seconds later, he let go, as if he had no idea how to handle me. Fine. You can dry it. His hair was soft, nothing like his icy, rigid personality. The wind from the dryer tousled his dark locks until they fell into his eyes, hiding his expression. I know the real reason you're here, he said flatly. It's because your brother, Asher Dalton, refused to marry me. To me, you're no different from him. You don't have to pretend you like me. That pissed me off. No different? He said no, I said yes. How is that the same? A faint, mocking smile played at the corner of his mouth. Is that so? I saw his expression and knew immediately he didn't believe a word I'd said. I could lie with conviction. I fell for you at first sight. Remember when you rescued a starving kitten in that alley? I grabbed both his hands, eyes full of emotion. That was my cat. After that, I knew you weren't anything like what the rumors said. You were kind. You were gentle. Sam Alonso, I like you. A lot. My tone was sincere. My face was glowing with heartfelt emotion. Honestly, I almost believed myself. The liking part was true. The cat had absolutely nothing to do with me. That scene in the book was barely a blip on the radar. But it mattered to Sam. He saw that half-dead kitten and remembered what it felt like to be young and abandoned. That was why he stepped in. When I said it, he paused. Then the cold expression returned to his face. You're lying. That cat died. So much for love at first sight. Total fraud. My brain blue-screened on the spot. What kind of author writes a setup and forgets to finish it? I watched in horror as Sam Alonso turned his chair to leave. Panicking, I wheeled him back around. Forget lying. I'd just prove how much I didn't mind being with him. While pushing him toward the bed, I yanked off my own shirt. Why won't you believe me? I really do like you. When I was nearly down to nothing, Sam Alonso was so shocked he literally stood up from his wheelchair. His ears turned scarlet. Are you insane? To go this far for the Dalton family, Ken Dalton, you're unbelievable. And with that, Sam Alonso fled in terror. He ran like something monstrous was chasing him from behind. Like if he didn't move fast enough, it would devour him whole. I clicked my tongue and shook my head. Did I seriously just scare the most dangerous and powerful villain in the entire novel into fleeing? No way. Still, I gave myself a silent thumbs up. Ken Dalton, you absolute legend. For someone so ruthless and decisive in the business world, Sam Alonso was surprisingly innocent when it came to intimacy. So innocent, it was almost tempting. I licked my lips and stepped out of the bedroom. Sam had vanished again. I turned to the butler. Where's Sam Alonso? I thought he was supposed to be wheelchair-bound. The butler replied calmly, the young master's legs aren't disabled. They just ache terribly in cold weather. The doctor advised against walking. I narrowed my eyes. So, it can be treated? The butler shook his head. Perhaps. But the young master refuses treatment. The book made it clear. Sam Alonso was someone who never forgot a grudge. He remembered the pain in his legs, just like he remembered those who caused it. And one day he would repay it all, tenfold. Idiot, I muttered under my breath. Hurting yourself just because someone else hurt you? What kind of logic is that? Well, no matter what Sam Alonso thought before. For the sake of my future happiness in bed, now that I was here, those legs were getting fixed. Sam Alonso didn't come home that night. The next morning, I was woken up by the sound of the doorbell. All the plants and aquariums I ordered the day before had arrived. I rolled up my sleeves and got to work. Following online tutorials, I redecorated the entire mansion from top to bottom. Added plenty of green plants and flowers. Finally, The place didn't look like a haunted house. When Sam finally came back and pushed the door open, he froze in the doorway. He even stepped back, as if wondering whether he'd walked into the wrong home. I burst out laughing. "Don't bother looking, it's all mine," I said proudly. This place used to look like a sterile hotel lobby, so I gave it a makeover. Not bad, right? If we're going to live here together, we might as well make it a real home. Sam's lips moved slightly, expression unreadable. He looked like he was thinking, someone like him, could he actually live a peaceful life with someone, in a place that felt like home? I had put jasmine by the door. In the language of flowers, jasmine symbolized pure, devoted love. I wasn't sure if Sam Alonso would get it, but I still asked, "Take a guess, why jasmine?" He hesitated. "To block the path?" I nearly coughed blood. Holding my chest, I tried to calm myself. "It's fine. He's a cold-blooded villain. It's only natural he doesn't understand romance. We can work on that." "Wrong," I said dramatically. I gazed at him with all the fake passion I could summon. "It's my love for you, Sam Alonso." "Unnecessary." He said it with his usual chill, but the tips of his ears had gone suspiciously red again. That weekend, we went to the Dalton family estate to discuss engagement plans. My mom and dad had prepared a huge meal, which, of course, barely included anything I could eat. Asher Dalton loved seafood. I happened to be allergic, so I had to reach over 4 different dishes just to find something safe. Sam Alonso barely touched his food, his expression distant. Meanwhile, my parents were grinning so hard their crow's feet practically straightened. "Sam, this kid Ken's always been gloomy and antisocial," my mom said sweetly. "Marrying him is great, you'll get peace and quiet." Sam repeated slowly, "Peace and quiet?" I choked. "You stingy brat," my dad snapped suddenly, smacking my hand with his chopsticks. "You're still counting every grain of rice. Can't you learn from Siu?" I winced and glanced at Asher, who was happily shoveling seafood into his mouth. "No thanks." Sam Alonso's brow furrowed. Then, silently, he put his chopsticks down, took my hand and stood up. "Ken Dalton is allergic to seafood. None of you noticed. The engagement will be next week. I'll send out the invitations." I was still dazed when he led me out. It took a full minute for my brain to catch up. "Sam Alonso, were you worried about me?" That would be a first. No one had ever noticed my allergy before, not even my parents. He replied blandly, "No. Your family's food is just awful." In the original novel, the engagement party was lackluster. But this time I was in charge, and I made sure it was unforgettable. The party was packed. The room buzzing with laughter, camera flashes, and clinking glasses. I grinned as I welcomed guests. "Don't be shy. Eat to your heart's content." During the toast, Asher Dalton stared at me, stunned. I looked healthy, even a bit rounder than before. "Sam Alonso actually didn't hit you?" "Why would he hit me? There are rumors about him having a violent temper." I resisted the urge to roll my eyes. "Exactly. Rumors." Before he could say more, a sudden commotion pulled his attention. And then, a scream. "Ken Dalton, you call that not violent?" I turned toward the noise. Oh no. When did Carmen Alonso get here? Sam's oldest brother. Their relationship couldn't even be called strained. It was pure, undiluted hatred. After all, in the novel, Carmen was the one responsible for their mother's death. And right now, Sam Alonso had him pinned to the floor. Shards of glass trembled dangerously close to Carmen's throat. I didn't hesitate. I rushed forward and threw my arms around Sam Alonso. "Honey, calm down." The broken glass sliced into my palm, and warm blood began to seep out. Sam Alonso seemed to snap out of it, finally loosening his grip on Carmen Alonso's throat. His voice was icy. "Get lost." In the lounge, a medic patched me up while I winced and hissed in pain. Asher Dalton, with nothing better to do, strolled over just to sneer. "Ken Dalton, you're actually marrying a guy like that? Have you gone completely money mad?" "Why wouldn't I?" I snapped. "He just tried to kill his own brother." I was losing patience. If this idiot Asher had gone through even half of what Sam Alonso had endured, he wouldn't be so damn smug. Even a monument older than time itself would move for you. What the hell does that mean? It means I want to marry him. I like him. And it's none of your business. At the doorway, Sam Alonso stood still, having caught every word. His heart, always cold, locked away, felt like it had been touched by sunlight for the first time in years. Something warm surged through him. Strange, but not unwelcome. He pushed the door open. Ken Dalton. Let's go home. Does your hand still hurt? I shook my head. Nah, it stopped hurting a while ago. Next time something like that happens, don't use your body as a shield. Yeah. I waved it off. Honestly, it was pure instinct. The last thing I needed was for my husband to go to prison before the honeymoon. And besides, let's be real, I still hadn't kissed those beautiful lips. Back at the villa, Sam went off to shower. When he came out, saw me sitting on the edge of the bed, he asked the same thing he did on our first night. Why are you still here? I frowned. Excuse me? We're married. You really planning to kick me out again? He looked flustered. That's not what I meant. He looked like such a dangerous villain standing there, but sounded more like a nervous bride. I couldn't help myself. I pulled him down and kissed him on the cheek. Smeh. Sam froze. So I pressed him down on the bed and kissed him again, right on the lips. His mouth was soft. Springy. Like jelly. Perfectly kissable. Ooh. Shut up, I said mock stern. It's time to consummate this marriage. I'm your husband, and we have duties to fulfill. His chest was firm, his abs sculpted, and finally, mine to touch. I ran my hands over him, amazed. This alpha husband? Certified top tier. The lights dimmed completely. His voice came low and husky in the dark. Why do you even like me? I rolled my eyes. What kind of question is that? I like you. That's it. His gaze deepened. In the novel, Sam Alonso was described as cold and unfeeling, especially about sex. There were even rumors he was impotent. Those rumors were about to be destroyed. Because this villain was not indifferent. If anything, he was a bit too good at this. Sure, he was clumsy at first, so much so that I winced in pain, but he learned fast. As a beta, my nape was bitten so many times I lost count, drenched in his pheromones until I thought I might drown in them. I couldn't be marked, but there was no doubt. My entire body was saturated with his scent. The next morning, I was sore everywhere. I clutched my neck, stumbled out of bed, and immediately collapsed onto the plush carpet. Sam walked in just in time to see me flop over and scooped me up into his arms. Are you hurt? He asked. I forced a grin despite the ache. It was all right. You could have gone harder, honestly. His grip on me tightened. His fingers sank into my thigh, tone teasing. Oh yeah. How much harder do you want it? If your legs were healed, I muttered, switching gears smoothly, you'd be even stronger. He stilled. Why don't you get them treated? I said gently. Please. He didn't answer right away. Then finally he nodded. For you I will. My chest swelled with happiness. Sam Alonso's storyline was finally getting back on track. He was beginning to let go of the pain, the trauma, the self-destruction. But peace never lasts long. A major turning point was coming. The protagonist, Corey Johnson, was returning to the country. In the original story, Corey and Sam never got along. Once Corey was back, they clashed in business constantly. Even though Sam was strong, the protagonist's plot armor always won. In the end, Sam lost everything. His company, his fortune. The mansion? Gone. The luxury cars? Gone. The idea of Sam and me, broke and homeless, curled up on a park bench? I shuddered. No thanks. I didn't know much about business warfare. So I decided to use the simplest and most effective method I could think of. Make the protagonist and the villain get along. No fights. No sabotage. Just peace. So the day Corey Johnson returned, I threw him a welcome back dinner. And, of course, invited Sam Alonso. He was extremely reluctant. Understandably so, these two had hated each other since school. Becoming friends? Not a chance. So I started my campaign. Corey's my friend. You're my husband. If you two don't get along, I'll be sad. You don't want me to be sad, do you, darling? Come on, just this once, please. And under the power of my relentless, puppy-eyed persuasion, Sam Alonso finally agreed. No surprise, I'm amazing like that. Corey Johnson, being the protagonist of this story, was naturally an impressive existence. Family background, face, career prospects, he was outstanding in all the ways that mattered. If the Johnson family hadn't been close with the Daltons since childhood, this rare chance at reconciliation would never have happened. At the dinner table, the moment Corey saw Sam Alonso, he immediately started provoking him. Wow, even Deadface showed up? Sam shot him a cold look. Idiot. I watched the atmosphere start to ignite like a lit fuse. I hurriedly stuck out a hand. Stop. It took me 0.01 seconds to decide whose side I was taking. Corey Johnson, you're out of line. Corey's eyes widened. Ken Dalton, have we fallen out of love? What did Sam Alonso feed you to brainwash you like this? I cleared my throat. You're my best friend. I emphasized the word friend. And Sam Alonso is the person I like the most. So of course I want you two to get along. If you don't, it makes me really sad. Sam and Corey exchanged a look. Pure mutual disdain. But at least neither of them said anything else venomous. I exhaled in relief. Maybe this could steer the plot away from disaster. After dinner, while Sam went to pay the bill, Corey suddenly spoke up beside me. What a pity, he said. I blinked. Pity about what? You probably don't know this, he said slowly, but I used to like you. I came back ready to confess, only to find you're already married. What a shame. I turned my head straight into Sam Alonso's dark, stormy expression at the doorway. Bro, please, don't do this. Not joking, because of that one sentence from the protagonist, my entire night almost went to waste. Even after we got home, Sam was still wrapped in a heavy, gloomy silence. I straddled him, cupped his cheeks, and asked, "Why are you still upset? Didn't I reject him loud and clear?" His voice came low and rough. I don't like you talking to other people. I froze. This was the first time Sam ever expressed such intense possessiveness. And being possessed like that? God, it felt good. I didn't even think before saying, I swear, I only like you. Just you. For life. Forever and always. Damn, I'm good. Truly a prince of sweet talk. A faint flush climbed the corners of Sam's eyes, making him look unexpectedly fragile under the lamp. I had just leaned in to kiss him again, when a sharp pain twisted in my stomach. Hiss. Sam's expression tightened. What happened? The pain was gone in an instant, almost like an illusion. It's nothing. I touched my stomach. I'm a beta, no way I'm pregnant, right? So I joked, feels like my husband needs to work harder and get me pregnant someday. Sam's gaze darkened instantly. A second later, I was flipped onto the bed, teeth sinking into my nape, pheromones flooding the entire room. Just as I was floating in ecstasy, an unfamiliar cold mechanical voice echoed in my mind. Pregnant? Brother, you won't live long enough for that. You'll be dead before anything gets conceived, got it? I jolted. What the hell? Sam lifted his head, lips wet and red. What's wrong? Did I hurt you? No, look at that. You made me feel so good I'm hallucinating. Damn it, not a hallucination. The next morning, I shouted into the empty bedroom, Hey, how did you get into my head? I'm this book's system. If you didn't keep interfering with the plot, I wouldn't be working overtime. What plot did I interfere with? Buddy, you messed with half of Sam Alonso's storyline. Don't pretend you don't know it. The system yawned lazily inside my mind. The villain Sam Alonso is supposed to lose everything. Home gone, reputation gone, abandoned by all. That's the only ending that fits his beautiful, strong, suffering setup. But look at him now, totally OOC. And interfering with the plot has consequences. Even if he avoids his original tragic ending because of you, you'll die instead. The word die landed hard. You're saying Sam Alonso must lose everything? Yep. But why? I lifted my face toward the empty room, demanding answers. Why does he have to suffer? Just because he's the villain? Does that mean he deserves all of it? The system was stunned into silence. I'm just a system. I don't know anything. All I can tell you is, if you keep meddling, there will be backlash. Your health will decline, and in the end, he lives, you died. And for the record, I don't want to work overtime either. Death was a foreign concept to me. For so many years, I'd existed like a smudge at the edge of the world. Forgotten. Unwanted. Barely human. No presence. No affection. No love. Yet somehow, I'd never thought about dying. Living, simply being alive, was precious. You get to eat delicious food. Breathe fresh air. Enjoy comfort. After death, all of that disappears. So death terrified me. But now the system was telling me, if I wanted to save Sam Alonso, I would have to die. Of course. Nothing in this world is perfect. So I began thinking, maybe I should leave. I'd already escaped the Dalton family. I had money now. Why risk my life for a fictional character? I could live well on my own terms. But another thought kept circling in my mind. Ken Dalton, are you still the person who came to him with just curiosity, a bit of liking, and a desire to play around? My head began to throb painfully. I yanked the covers over my head, squeezed my eyes shut, and told myself to just sleep. But peace didn't come. In my dreams, Sam Alonso's original ending kept playing over and over again, relentlessly. By the time morning came, I flung the blanket off in frustration and cursed it out loud. Screw this. I'm not some damn saint. I couldn't save him. But if all I could do was spend this time with Sam Alonso, then I'd say it was worth it. That evening, I suggested we go on a honeymoon trip. He agreed almost instantly. So we packed up the next day and headed off to the snow-covered mountains. His legs, after treatment, didn't hurt anymore. He could even walk normally now. And after spending so much time with him, the once pale and withdrawn Sam Alonso looked so much healthier. We were both beginners at skiing, slipping, falling, tumbling around like a pair of clumsy penguins. At some point, we looked at each other and burst out laughing. I looked at his face, his beautiful, clear face shining with that rare, carefree smile. And I thought, this is the life he should have had. A good family, normal friends, a normal love. If only he hadn't been written into a doomed fate. He should have been allowed to live boldly, with joy, with freedom. A wave of suffocating emotion pressed against my chest. He noticed. What's wrong? Are you cold? He asked, voice gentle. No, I smiled at him. I just suddenly don't want this to end. Snow's rare where we're from, you know? Sam rubbed my hair. That's fine. We'll come back anytime you want. But is there really a next time? I sat on the bed in a daze and asked the system, is there really no way to save him? The system's voice came coldly. There isn't. He's already lived better than he ever was meant to. Even if he dies, it was worth it. You should be content. Is that what passes for logic to you? I'm not a person. I don't need logic. I hurled a pillow across the room in anger. And the next second, I was pulled into a familiar embrace, filled with the scent of rich floral pheromones. What's wrong? Sam asked, voice low. You've been quiet since yesterday. His black eyes stared into mine like he could see everything. I was stunned by his sensitivity. But I masked it quickly with a grin. Just thinking about how to seduce you. Did you need to think about that? Sam chuckled softly. Wasn't that always your plan? I gasped dramatically. You've changed. Sam Alonso used to be all distant and reserved. Now look at him. Corrupted. By me. He pulled me in and kissed me, deep and thorough. Our breathing tangled in each other's mouths. When we broke apart, his eyes were heavy with desire. Beautiful. Intense. And just like that, the ache returned to my chest. A familiar tightness I'd tried so hard to ignore. I hated this feeling. But I tried to convince myself it was just human nature. So why did it still hurt? Ken Dalton, he said quietly, are you hiding something from me? I just wrapped my arms around his neck, turned my eyes away, and whispered, harder, husband. When we returned from the trip, it all felt like a dream. Sam Alonso went back to his busy work routine. And I lay at home, enduring the system's endless nagging in my head. We had a deal. No more interfering with the plot. Yeah, I know. I'd like to live a few more years, thank you. Don't go soft again later. I know you. You're seriously annoying, you know that? I just don't want to work overtime. I messaged Sam, will you be home for dinner tonight? But a long time passed, no reply. I frowned, then tried calling. No answer. Maybe he was just busy? While cooking, I glanced at the news on TV. A report played. An explosion had occurred on a highway on the west side of the city. 12 casualties. I knew. That was the route Sam always took after work. My heart dropped. I fumbled for my phone, dialed again. No answer. Cold sweat ran down my back. System, I asked, did the plot accelerate? Why is this happening? Even the system sounded shaken. It wasn't supposed to. I don't know. I grabbed my keys and bolted out the door. Calling again and again. Nothing. Just endless busy signals and voicemails. When I finally arrived at the crash site, I stood there, frozen. What did I expect? That I could pick Sam Alonso out of a sea of wrecked cars? Just as I took a step forward, my phone buzzed in my pocket. His name lit up the screen. Ken Dalton? I was in a meeting. Why did you call so many times? Did something happen? My legs gave out. I sat right down on the pavement, breath shuddering with relief. Nothing, I whispered. Nothing happened. The breeze hit my damp shirt, and I shivered. In that moment, I finally understood. Losing Sam Alonso, just the thought of it, was terrifying. The system's voice drifted back into my mind. Now you get it, huh? Ken Dalton, are you regretting it? I don't know. Maybe I really was regretting it a little. The second major plot point that was supposed to ruin Sam Alonso's life arrived too soon. His second brother, Austin Alonso, was coming back to the country. A man who was practically a rabid dog with a fractured mind. He'd been exiled overseas by Sam back then, and he had never forgiven him for it. The moment he returned, his only goal was revenge, violent, irrational, and fatal. In the book, he even drove a car straight into Sam's, fully intending to die together. Time felt like it moved too fast. With a single blink, the day had come. I hadn't slept at all the night before. When I heard Sam getting up, my eyes snapped open. Aren't you going to sleep a little more? I swallowed. Couldn't. Are you heading to the office? He glanced at his watch. Yeah. There's a contract meeting today. It'll be busy. I called after him. I'm not feeling well today. Can you stay with me? Where does it hurt? I couldn't answer. He gave a faint laugh, assuming I was messing around. Don't fool around. The system chimed in with its usual sarcasm. See? Everything is predetermined. You think you can change it? Unless you knock him out cold, he's not staying. Sam was already about to walk out the door. With no options left, I threw caution to the wind and shouted, I want a divorce. His footsteps halted. He must have thought he misheard. What did you say? I said I want a divorce. A dead silence. The system. Holy crap, that actually worked. I checked the time. Dragging him as long as I could, that was the plan. Sam loosened his tie. His voice was as calm as always. Ken Dalton, you're half asleep. I'm not. You know I only married you because of the Dalton family. Because my brother didn't want to. But I'm tired of it. So let's divorce. I had seen many expressions in his eyes before. Coldness, fury, apathy, desire. But never this. A chill swept through me. Say it again. Sam Alonso, I. Suddenly, a metallic taste filled my throat. A sharp pain tore up my chest. A mouthful of blood splattered onto the floor, shockingly red. Ken Dalton. As my consciousness slipped away, one thought drifted through my mind. I did it. I changed the plot again. Was it worth it? The voice in my mind wouldn't stop. Sam Alonso is a villain. That ending, ruined, abandoned, was destined for him. No one ever loves him. No one ever chooses him. That's his fate. I choose him. What did you say? I said I choose him. If his fate is to be destroyed, then let it take me too. I already promised to stay with him, to the end, for a lifetime. Though, growing old together was probably not happening anymore. Am I dying? Bro, you seriously didn't notice? I really didn't. I only knew my body was getting worse with each passing day. The system muttered, I sent this what you asked for? I sighed. Who wants to die? But if I really do die, when you're cleaning things up, erase Sam Alonso's memories of me. What? You did all this for him, you're literally dying, and you want to wipe his memories too. You're the strangest protagonist I've ever seen. Clearly you've never loved someone. When you love someone, you naturally want him to live a good life. Preferably without having to remember me. Is that what you've been hiding from me? A cold voice came from the doorway. Sam Alonso had arrived at some point. My eyes flew wide open. You can hear my conversations with the system? No. He set the insulated food container on the bedside table. But my spouse has always been carefree. Then suddenly one day, he carries a heavy heart, talks to himself, and the man who adored me starts talking about divorce. I'm not blind. Silence lingered between us. Then Sam spoke again. Will you die? I didn't want to lie anymore. It's possible. When I was young, my mother brought me into the Alonso family. Everyone there hated me. And she was my only family left. Even though she treated me poorly, never cared about me, valued money and love more than her own son, I still looked for her first whenever I was afraid. When she died, I had no one left. I only have you now, Ken Dalton. His beautiful, low-cast eyes glistened, and tears fell quietly. There was no dramatic grief in his voice. He spoke as if stating a simple fact. But watching him cry felt like a blade slowly twisting inside my chest. In the book, he never cried. He wasn't written to cry. He almost seemed born without tear ducts. So please, he whispered, don't leave me with nothing again. Sam began spending more and more time with me. Often we sat together without speaking. Still, I tried to comfort him. I'll come back. Do you believe me? He always answered, I do. But I knew. He didn't believe it at all. Because even I couldn't believe it. I wanted him to wait for me, yet I wanted him to forget me. But deep down, I knew I would break my final promise. One autumn morning, I closed my eyes and watched the last dead leaf drift down outside the window. And I knew I wasn't going to wake up again. The system never erased Sam Alonso's memories. Probably because it didn't even have permission to. But it was busy, insanely busy. After my death, though my body was gone, my soul inexplicably lingered. A strange afterlife. I drifted through my days chatting with the system, then floated to Sam's side just to watch him. The first year after I was gone, Sam visibly withered. His beautiful face grew thin, pale, exhausted. And my heart ached with every breath he took alone. The second year, Sam destroyed every last person who had ever hurt him. He lived well, better than I could have imagined. The house grew warm again too, exactly like I once begged him to keep it. More plants, more fish, more life. Even his reputation changed. People no longer whispered villain behind his back. Some even asked him for his contact information. Whenever that happened, my eyes stung. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. And the system would laugh mercilessly. You care so much you're practically clawing your way out of the grave, huh? But Sam refused every time. He lived like a lone wolf. Misunderstood, closed off. Because no one remembered me. Except him. The third year after I left, my form began fading. The system said it was a sign. I was about to disappear completely. And suddenly, a crushing fear wrapped around me. Even worse than the night I first realized I might die. I wouldn't be able to see Sam Alonso anymore. Death wasn't the tragedy. Death wasn't even frightening. But an eternity without Sam. That thought alone made my throat tighten. When I opened my eyes again, the first thing I did was look down at my body. Was I see-through? Was I fading? I was back. My eyes widened in disbelief, and then joy surged through me so abruptly it was almost painful. I wasn't dead. I had returned to this world. Warmth pressed against my side. Sam Alonso. The Sam Alonso I could touch. I lay beside him, breathing in sync with his breaths, fingers brushing his sleeping face. So carefully, terrified of waking the man I loved. You've gotten thinner. His lashes fluttered, sensing, perhaps, the familiar presence he'd longed for. His eyes opened, clear as spring water, blinking slowly. Ken Dalton, he whispered, you're in my dream again. I've missed you. Every day. Every single day. It's not a dream. My fingertips brushed his lips before I kissed him gently. Do I kiss you like this in your dreams too? Like a glacier breaking apart in the warmth of spring, Sam's eyes widened, then overflowed with a joy so raw it almost hurt to look at. He pulled me into his arms so tightly my ribs ached. You came back. It's really you. You won't leave again, will you? Never. This time, a promise I would not break. When I asked the system why I was alive again, it picked its nose, metaphorically, and said, funny story. After you died, I worked like a damn machine trying to fix the plot. I mean, blood, sweat, tears. I'm talking overtime every single day. Get to the point. So I kept repairing and repairing, only to find out readers actually preferred the broken plot. What was all my hard work for? I was furious. Then, surprise. Turns out the whole redeem the villain storyline was super popular. Readers said no death. They wanted a happy ending. So the Temporal Bureau meddled a bit and, poof, sent you back to. I'm definitely applying for more stories like this. Maybe I'll beat Agent 007's score someday. Anyway, since you're back, you're not going anywhere. Go kiss your husband or whatever. The readers love that stuff. Fine. When I returned, it was winter. It had also been winter when I first met Sam. Our story had closed its circle. On New Year's Eve, a city saw its first snowfall in years. Even Sam, usually so calm, pulled me excitedly onto the balcony. Snow landed in our palms, melted on our brows. We looked at each other and shared a soft, quiet smile. You and the snow share something in common, Sam murmured. What? You're both gifts sent by heaven. The end.
Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.